Hey, what's up, guys? Right now, I am super excited to be sharing this assignment with you. It is a Blackout Poetry project. And what's even better, is that you are going to be using your novel, Walk Two Moons, to create this poetry. So sit back, relax, get ready to be able to create some poems, and I bet you all thought you were poets and didn't even know it. So let's get started. I'm going to kind of go back and forth between some tabs. I'm going to read these directions to you. Not all of them, but some of them, just so you know how to do it. I have an example of a blackout poem, and then I'll show you some tips and tricks to make it look outstanding. So, the first thing is we're going to choose a section from a chapter of your choice from Walk Two Moons. This can be a page, it can be a series of dialogue, a series of paragraphs, but you want them to try to be in order. You'll notice the one that I chose at the bottom here. This is a PDF of the novel, so you don't have to type all of your work out, but you can just find your spot and copy and paste it. Now, I did have to scroll down. I decided to choose Sacrifices as my chapter. And I only chose about one, two, three, four, five, six paragraphs. You can choose a little bit longer if you want more words in your poem, maybe even a little less, depending on what you want your poem to sound like. But I'll show you what we're going to do with that selection in just a moment. So again, from the PDF version, you're actually going to copy and paste the section of your choice into the appropriate slide on your assignment. When you click on this PDF version, you're going to want to search for your chapter. Mine was Sacrifices. The chapters are in red. I will let you know this. I don't know what version this is. However, in our novels, chapter 27 is actually Pandora's Box, not the phone call. So when you're looking through your novel, it's not going to match up 100% to your novel. Like 113 is obviously a different page, so you are just going to want to scroll to find it. For example, there's Pandora's Box, but I think that all goes together. All right, so let me go back to my other spot here so that way I have it ready to go. Using the highlighter color tool, which is right up here, you are going to highlight in black over the words and letters that you do not want to be shown. The words and or letters left should create a well thought out creative poem that relates to the title of the chapter of your choice. And you may add words to your poem rough draft to create coherent lines in your stanzas. Then what you're going to do is you're going to complete the following a checklist for your final draft slide, which is this white blank slide over here. So here's my example of this blackout poem. Again, I found the section that I would like to use. I copied and pasted. This is my rough draft slide, and this is your rough draft slide. So you'll notice that you're going to want to copy and paste it here and here. The reason why is because we want to see the original, and then you will use this one to black out the unwanted words. And you'll notice that I've already done that in my example. Black out the words and or letters you're not going to use. So you can, even if you wanted to use maybe this A and at, then you can just block out that T. You can create words out of words. You can put words together. It just depends on, again, how you want your poem to sound. So this is my original. This is what I've blacked out. And this is my poem called Sacrifices. So sacrifices. You're supposed to make some sacrifices in life. I suppose your mother made a great sacrifice. Couldn't help it. Undergoing a tremendous sacrifice. At this very moment in time, unpacking is supposed to be the best. My mother says sacrifice. So I got my poem all from Sharon Creech's words when she was writing the chapter Sacrifices. Depending on the chapter that you've chosen, you want your poem to kind of relate to the chapter title. So that's why you'll notice that I have sacrifices throughout my poem. So this is just an example to show you how to black out the poem. Again, we want to leave this as the original. Now let's say I don't want the first line here, right? Maybe I want to just put that here. So I'm going to select the text, and at the top, I'm going to choose highlight color, and I'm going to change that color to black. Now, let's say, oh, I made a mistake. I didn't want to unhighlight some, or I didn't want to highlight something in black. Then all I have to do is go back up and choose transparent. So I'm going to do that one more time to just another random section. If I wanted to black out these words, and I don't have to black out them all. I can black out the ones that I don't want only. Go to black. And if you wanted to undo that, or only, or maybe you noticed that you blacked out a word that you wanted, just go back to transparent to change it. Okay. So I'm going to delete that just so that way it's not on any other future slides. But that is how you are going to do the rough draft slide. Copy and paste this section twice, and then black out the unwanted words. For your final draft, this is your final draft. This is what my final draft looked like. You are going to want to make this look nice and fancy and pretty. I have some examples to show you at the end of our video. So getting back to that final draft, you will then complete the following to display your poem on the final draft slide. Again, this fourth and final slide. And I do have some examples for you. You're going to title the poem the same title as the chapter of your choice. So if you chose cholesterol, as so many of students did, it's Miss Moore's favorite chapter, by the way, then you will title your poem cholesterol. If you chose the title Pandora's Box, then your poem is going to also be titled Pandora's Box. Of course, don't forget your name. You're going to retype the words that you did not black out in the section of the chapter. So depending on how you'd like your poem to sound, you will create different stanzas and lines. So I'm going to go back up to mine really quick. These two, again, are the rough draft slides, and this would be my final draft slide. So what I did was I did choose the amount of stanzas I wanted. I kind of want it to be not so much as each individual stanza, but kind of just space out the words and the lines to make it look the way that I thought it should look with my poetry. So there's no wrong amount of lines, no wrong amount of stanzas. It is really up to you and how you would like your poem to sound or be read by others. Please remember, spelling does count. The words in the book are already spelled correctly for you, but if you need to add a word or two, please make sure that it's spelled correctly. Grammar, punctuation, and the structure of your poem is your decision. Then you will choose a creative but legible fonts, colors, and images or borders to, again, make your poem as beautiful and as lovely as you'd like it to be. So I'm going to share with you some examples of some blackout poems that have already been created. So here are a few examples. I had a student do Bybanks, and you can see the barn and the tall aspen tree. I had a student do Our Gooseberry, and his method was to make it look like it was on a wall with some picture frames. And we know Our Gooseberry is Graham. And instead of putting his name here, he put it at the bottom, which was fine. It looks like a love letter, and that was kind of what he was going for. We have Marilyn Ye, and she did Old Faithful. So we have Old Faithful spouting, blowing its top, if you will. And she did an entire poem on Old Faithful. The last two are on a kiss. And I just want you to kind of note how different but how similar these two students' poems are with a kiss. This is by Mitch Walker. It says, "She reminded me so much of my mother. She picked at the grass and got up and went a little further. She rambled over the fields and meadows, weaving through them like a snake, but she never seemed to notice our presence. I looked at him and he looked at me. Our heads moved together and our lips landed in the right place, on each other's lips. It was a real kiss." And this other one was by Saul Barriato. "Our lips landed in the right place, which was on the other person's lips. It was a real kiss. And then our heads moved slowly, then touched his lips. Did it taste a little like blackberries to you?" he said. So again, using almost close to the same a part of the book, in the same chapter, you could see how two different poems can be created. And you're going to create your own beautiful poem as well. The last part before Miss Moore stops running her mouth is to show you something super duper cool. So if you're ready, make sure that you are paying close attention, and you might want to take some notes down too. Now, we see this plain, boring white background, that's all fine and dandy, but what if we could make a beautiful gradient just like Miss Moore has created here? You have an option of just choosing the background or adding a text box. I did have some students want to add a text box for their gradient. Either way it goes, it'll work just the same. So I'm just going to do the background, and I'm going to go to color. Instead of choosing solid, I am going to choose a gradient. Now, there are all these fun ones here, but if you want to create your own custom one, you're going to go down to custom, and you're going to choose this plus sign here. Now, there are so many different ways to create a gradient, so I definitely would play around with this, making your own, maybe having a few stored up just in case you're not entirely sure which one you'd like to use. I will say that they only stay on the actual document that you've created. So if you go to another Google Slides, your custom gradient will not be available on that slide. You'll have to just make a new fun one. So a linear gradient is when it is going in a linear direction, and you can choose different angles. And if you look a little closely, or if you want to change the color of the endpoints, you'll see where it begins and where it ends. So I'll show you a linear gradient and a radial one, which we can do from the center or the top left, top bottom right. Let's start with the linear one. I'm going to do an 80-degree angle. I just think it'll look really nice. I start off with the endpoints. So let's say I want to do an orange here. And I know it's probably not going to match, but maybe maybe it does match. Ooh, I love that actually. I actually love that a lot. Or this magenta color. Now, this is only two colors, and we have something called gradient stops. So I'm going to add a stop here, and as you notice, it'll go get darker depending on which one you want. And I'm going to add another stop here. I'm going to add one more just because I'm fancy like that. Now, they don't have to change this colors. You can see when I click on the stop, I get to change that color here. So maybe we do like a purple. I'm not starting to love that as much as I was before. Maybe a blue. Oh, maybe not that. Okay. And then maybe I want like maybe this teal color here. I don't know. That orange is throwing me off. We got to change that, y'all. Okay. Oh, ooh. And now, even with this angle, let's say you don't really like this angle, you can change it. It will change. And look at, oh, wow, look at that. Oh, wow, look at that. Oh, look at that. I'm sorry, Miss Moore gets so excited with colors. So I think, hold on. Actually, that other one with that, that one was so pretty. But then what about this one, y'all? Okay, we're going to do this one. When you press done, you have a beautiful created gradient. Tell me that's not cool. No, don't tell me it's not cool. But it's cool, regardless. So we did that gradient. I'll show you the one more. Remember, you're going to go to gradient, background. If it's actually, let's show you the text box way. So if you add a text box, you're going to go up to fill color. And then again, you got the gradient there. And I got this custom one that I made, but I can make another custom one. And it's going to show me the one that I already chose, which is okay. We could do it from the center. You see how it changes, top left, bottom left. It just depends on how you want it to look. I did have some people do like a rainbow color. So let's maybe do that. We could do red, orange, and you can remove a gradient stop if you don't like it. You can get rid of it just like that. Okay, red, orange, maybe not a yellow because I don't want you to blind your teacher. Green and blue. Oh, and then we make this purple. And it doesn't have, it could be, it doesn't, the end ones don't move. I will say that. But if you want it to be more purple, then you have to like move these other ones here. Maybe add another stop. I'm not loving this so much, but I'm just showing. I don't love this, but I am just showing you a way to make this, look your own, look unique. You can choose where you want it to stop or end. Okay, and then we press OK, and then we have this very strange circular rainbow. But again, you can choose whatever you'd like, and if you don't like it, you always have these custom ones to go off of. Okay. Well, I do hope you found this very helpful. Sorry for the long rant, but this is something that you'll be able to utilize for a time to come. I should have not have gotten rid of that one. Let's add another blank one here. And I do hope that you found this informative. Thank you so much for entertaining me today and watching my video. If you have any questions, definitely reach out.